Because of why I search the deep through endless nights, no time to sleep. The call inside I can't deny. I'll find the light because of why.
Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are digging into a question that honestly a lot of people have. How on earth is the United Arab Emirates so incredibly safe? You've probably seen those videos, right? Someone leaves their phone or their wallet on a table in a busy Dubai cafe, walks away for an hour, comes back, and it's right there. It feels like it can't be real, but it points to something much bigger going on in the UAE. So what's their secret? Well, look, this isn't just a vibe or a couple of viral videos. The data absolutely backs it up. The UAE consistently ranks as one of the safest places you can possibly live. We're talking number 2 in the entire world. The crime rate is just astonishingly low. So let's dive in and unpack the unique formula that makes this possible. Okay, so the first thing that probably jumps into your head are the laws. The UAE is famous for being strict, and yeah, that is definitely a huge piece of the story. It's what most people point to first. And it all boils down to this classic idea called deterrence theory. The logic is actually pretty simple. If the punishment is really severe and you're almost certain you're going to get caught and justice comes down fast, well, most people are just going to decide that committing the crime is a terrible idea. It's just not worth the risk. And boy, do they put that theory into practice. The UAE has a zero-tolerance policy for so many things. Obviously, there are severe penalties for big stuff like theft and assault, but it also applies to drug offenses. Even having a tiny leftover amount can mean serious jail time. It even extends to public behavior. Swearing or making a rude gesture can get you into real trouble. The message couldn't be clearer. The consequences are serious. But here's the thing. Tough punishments don't mean much if you don't think you're going to get caught, right? And that brings us to the next and honestly maybe even more powerful layer of the UAE's safety strategy. The country has gone all in on this idea of security by surveillance. The entire goal is to make the certainty of getting caught as close to 100% as humanly possible. And how do they do it? It's all about the tech. We're talking about a massive, sprawling network of CCTV cameras, a ton of them with facial recognition. They use AI to actually predict where crime might happen before it does. In Abu Dhabi, they have this thing called the Falcon Eye system, which is basically a giant centralized live feed for the whole city. It's all designed to make the risk of getting away with something incredibly low. All right, now we're getting to a factor that is just huge for understanding the UAE, and it's one that a lot of people on the outside completely miss. For the vast majority of people there, the worst punishment isn't a fine or even prison. First, you got to get your head around the population mix here. It's kind of mind-blowing. A staggering 88% of the people living in the UAE are expats. They're from other countries, there to work. Only about 12% of the population are actual Emirati citizens. And that demographic fact changes everything. Just listen to what this person said in a survey about it. The fear of getting deported and losing your job is what stops people. Think about what that means. For almost 9 out of 10 people, getting a criminal conviction doesn't just mean a court date. It means you lose your job. If you lose your job, you lose your visa. And if you lose your visa, you and your entire family have to pack up and leave the country. You don't just risk some time behind bars, you risk losing your entire life that you've built. The stakes are unbelievably high. Okay, so we've got the laws, we've got the tech, and we've got deportation. But what if I told you the very way society is set up day to day actually makes crime harder to begin with? Yeah, there's a fancy term for it. Capable guardians. But all it really means is having people around who, just by being there, make a criminal think twice. It's not police, it's just people, extra sets of eyes. And when you look around the UAE, you realize these guardians are baked into the system. Think about it. There's a security guard at the entrance to almost every single building. You literally can't pump your own gas. There's always an attendant. A lot of families have live-in help, which means houses are rarely empty. It all adds up to this web of natural surveillance that makes it really, really hard to do something without being seen. And get this, if all of that wasn't enough to stop crime, there's one last factor that nobody really plans for. It's just there. It's the environment itself. For a huge chunk of the year, the temperature is over 40 degrees Celsius. That's more than 104 Fahrenheit. The heat is so intense that the streets are practically empty during the day. Everyone is just zipping from one air-conditioned bubble to the next, from their home, to their car, to the mall. This just kills the opportunity for street crime because there's nobody out there to be a target.
So you see, it's not just one thing. The UAE's incredible safety record isn't an accident. It's this really unique, complex, and layered system where all these pieces work together. So let's break down that formula one last time. You start with super strict laws. You add to that pervasive technology that makes getting caught almost a sure thing. Then, for the massive expat population, you have the ultimate high-stakes penalty, deportation. And you wrap it all in an environment with all its guardians and even the weather that just naturally makes crime difficult.
So when you look at all these different layers, the laws, the tech, the threat of being kicked out, and the environment itself, it makes you wonder, right? What do you think is the single most important piece of that puzzle? Which one makes the biggest difference? I'd love to know what you think, so drop your ideas in the comments below. And hey, if you found this interesting, do me a favor. Hit that like button, share it with a friend, and definitely subscribe for more explainers like this. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll catch you on the next one.